Over the past several months, we've been talking to you about our hobby greenhouse, and we talked to you about the kit and the type of material it was constructed from. Well, today we finally got it finished, and we've got Alan back with us to talk about what we've done inside. And Alan, it looks great, it really does.
Thank you, Steve.
Tell us about the electrical part of it, what you've done to get us lights and power in here.
Well, you know, when we laid the gas line in here that we also put electricity in. And then we decided to put electrical running in plastic conduit. That will seal it off from moisture. Then we put waterproof receptacles in here, going from our breaker box.
And that's because there's so much humidity in a greenhouse, we don't want them to rust or anything. So we've got lights out here, we've got plug-ins for our camera and lights if we need that while we're taping, and so it's very functional and very efficient. Now, one of the important things, of course, this time of year is the heat. And that's something that we invested quite a bit of money in for such a small greenhouse, was the heat. Tell us about our heater and what you did to get that installed.
Well, we figured that we might as well go invest in a little bit bigger heater. But what we did is we installed it and put venting out according to the instructions and ran gas and electricity over it. And we also had to figure out what size of heater we needed. That was a little involved, but it's relatively pretty simple. You want to figure your coverage of your greenhouse that is covered by your plastic material or your sheeting. And then you want to figure the temperature differential that you want to maintain. Like 60 degrees minimum in our greenhouse is what we figured, with a minus 10 outside. That gives you a 70-degree temperature differential. And then we had to take that times our coverage of our greenhouse, how much sheeting is covering our greenhouse. Not your floor space, but the area that is covered by your sheeting.
And our sheeting coverage was about, what, 401 square foot?
About 401, 402 square foot.
Okay, and you multiplied that then times the difference of the temperature.
Sure, and that yielded a figure. Then you take that figure by a heat loss factor of your sheeting material, which ours is equivalent to a double poly greenhouse. And that was a factor of 0.8, and that gave us 22,506 BTUs.
Okay, now tell us what BTUs are, first of all, Alan.
BTUs are British thermal units, which is the amount of heat required to raise 1 pound of water 1 degree in Fahrenheit.
So it's really just a unit to measure the heat that we have in the greenhouse. So that's a step that a lot of people forget or don't really spend the time in. So we chose a heater based on that number of 22,000 BTUs. And tell us about our style of heater and how many BTUs it will work for.
Well, we're using a forced air heater, and we kept in mind that we wanted to ensure that we had plants for the show. So the smallest heater that available for a greenhouse in a forced air was like 20 to 18,000 BTUs, which was just a little under our figure. So we chose the next one up, which is 34 to 35,000 BTUs, which is more than we need here.
But at the same time, we're still working a few kinks out of the greenhouse. We've got some areas around the doors and windows that don't seal very good, so we're getting some heat loss, and that's really important. And of course, we're trying to work those kinks out too. But like I say, we've got a very big investment. And how much did we spend on our heater, Alan?
Well, we spent a little under $400 on the heater, but we spent a little over budget on the wire and the electricity. It all worked out.
But of course, you don't have to go with the gas forced air heater. There's several other choices. Electric. What else, Alan?
There's hot water systems. There's space heaters, like electric, oil, gas. And there's
the main thing is the fumes, and try not to get any problems there, because you can get some toxicity with the plants.
Yeah.
But we're very pleased with the heater. Alan's done a good job on it again too, and so we've got plenty of heat. But the main purpose is for us to have our plants in here. And Alan, you've done another good job on putting our benches together. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, they come with pretty well ready-made benches using PVC supports. And we were just thinking about laying wire across them. But we found that our wire wasn't stiff enough, so we went ahead and put these redwood slats in here to support the wire a little more, and that gave us a good firm bench. And the redwood is water resistant and it holds up well in a greenhouse situation.
Now the wire is special too because it could rust with all the humidity.
Yeah, it's a galvanized hog wire is essentially how it's described, with an inch by half-inch spacing.
Well, again, it does seem to be very sturdy, and I think we'll be able to get a lot of plant material and flats on it. Now the last thing, Alan, I want you to talk about that people take for granted too is the floor space, and we alluded to this in our introduction of the greenhouse, but I think we want to mention again, what did you use for the flooring?
Well, I used a material that you can get about at any gravel yard. It's called gravel screenings. It's very fine. It's like 1/4 inch run is another term that they give it. And it's packs well, but it also drains well. And it holds up to, and it keeps weeds from coming in and grasses.
And I don't think we'll have much problem with algae or anything growing on that too, like a lot of the cement floors.
It dries out real well.
Tell us, Alan, about all the time and everything you put in it. Are you pleased with the finished product?
I really am. I think it's a nice greenhouse. Sometimes we've already just got part of our cold crops in here and we're filling it up fast. Maybe we need a bigger house, Steve.
Uh-oh. He's already wanting more. Well, Alan, thanks. You've done a good job on that. And, of course, we've covered a lot of topics today, but I'd like to show you that there are a lot of good fact sheets available at your county extension office that address a lot of the things that we talked about. One on locating the greenhouse, one on structures or coverings, even one on telling you how to design your floors and benches. And of course, we get most of our information from the hobby greenhouse fact sheet that not only addresses the issues of the different types of heating systems, but it gives you that formula to make it easier on how to figure up your BTU. So be sure and stop by your county extension office and try to pick some of these up.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.